drugs coming into the schools and overdose.
There'll be drug dealers on
Girls and boys scout camping. How safe they are.
There's a lot of horror stories that have come out in recent years. Screens, prolonged staring as it messes with that circadian rhythm.
The kids, they are completely into gaming.
Brains are not meant for that much. Kids are using Google Maps as a secret social media.
Is your child really safe at school, on their phone, or even in your own home? In this powerful episode, we're joined by Nate Webb, a nationally recognized school counselor, passionate advocate for child safety and bullying prevention. He was also chosen as a speaker on the TEDx. From cyberbullying and gaming risk to spotting emotional struggles and building resilience, Nate shares real stories, expert tips, and tools to help kids feel protected both online and in real life. Whether you're a parent, teacher, or caregiver, this conversation is your wake-up call. Don't miss it. Your child's safety starts with your awareness. Welcome to Mayuri's OccultTalkshow. Last episode, we had many topics related to child safety. So we are continuing with the same topic today. Welcome, Nate.
Thank you for having me back. Love being here.
Thank you for coming. Today, I want to start with the parents' view. Every parent thinks their child is different from the other child. They think they don't do anything without their notice.
Right.
What do you think?
I think that if parents have an attitude of not my kid, probably is their kid. A lot of parents, they use not my kid as an excuse to not want to be involved. Like if their kid has a TikTok account and they think, oh, my kid wouldn't get onto pornography. My kid wouldn't talk to online predators. My kid wouldn't do that. And so they don't even look because my kid wouldn't do that. When you use not my kid as an excuse not to even look, you're putting your kid at greater risk. Yeah, there's a chance it might not be your kid, but there's a chance it might be your kid. And so a lot of parents, when they use that excuse of not my kid, they're putting their kids at risk. Because if your kid's on a social media platform and you're not on that platform, if you're not aware of what they're doing, you're putting them at risk because who knows who's trying to talk to your kid. It's literally the internet against our kids. And it's not a fair fight. It's hundreds and thousands of adults who are trained, who know how to try and get your kids' attentions versus a child whose mind's not even developed yet. And it's not a fair fight. And so when parents say, not my kid, I'm like, yes, your kid. Ask the questions, be involved. Oh, my kid would tell me. Have you asked? Are you expecting your kid to just come up and tell you if something's happening? You need to ask. You need to look. You need to be proactive because it could be happening to your kid.
Now I want to know about the girls and boys scout camping. So how safe they are?
Well, I mean, for the most part, pretty safe. I mean, I know there's a lot of horror stories that have come out in recent years with different things happening with overnight trips. But I think there's a big difference between like group campouts and sleepovers. Right? Like group campouts where there's adult supervision, where there's not usually almost any cell service, usually are pretty safe. But there's still things that can happen. That being said, there's still some risk involved. My wife, in our church group, she was in charge of a young women's campout. Every year they go on a young women's campout and we picked a good spot. We had a lot of good leaders come. They made sure that there was some men there as well so that they could help if there's, cooking and stuff like that to help with the leaders. But then one night, one of the young women, one of the teenagers, they engaged in self-harm. And so we had protocols set in place so that if something happened, we knew what to do. So in that instance, the girl had to get sent home, that her parents could go help her, send her to a hospital, get the help she needed. If there's going to be an overnight trip with a group or something like that, just make sure you have the proper, safeties put in place. Are there going to be an appropriate number of adults to make sure that the kids are safe? Trusted adults, mind you. Are you going to be in a safe place? Or are you going to be in like a public camp out where other people can access your camp? You don't want to be in a public camp. You want to be in a private area. So it's just you and your group. There's that. And then there's sleepovers. Sleepovers I'm much more weary of.
So my next question was about sleepovers.
Right. Because with sleepovers, you have to be willing to ask, because usually sleepovers are your kid and their friend want to have a sleepover, right? Your kid wants to go have a sleepover at their friend's house. You need to be willing to have some tough conversations with that kid's parents then. Who's going to be there? What access do they have to the internet? What values do they have? Who because all it takes is one lapse of judgment to change a kid's life forever. All it takes is one other kid's smartphone to change your kid's life forever. I would just say be very careful about sleepovers, because that's when we can get into some murky water, because sometimes sleepovers don't have as much adult supervision as they should. If there's sleepovers happening, I would advocate for requesting no smartphones at the sleepovers. I would advocate for parent supervision at the sleepovers, so that you know that, okay, maybe the kids want to stay up late, right? That's what a sleepover is. You stay up late, you have fun, you play games. Okay, the parents better be prepared to stay up late with the kids. If they're watching a movie, the parents should know what movies they're watching. Be involved. So I think sleepovers can be safe, but be very, very careful, because it's so easy for them to be dangerous.
So recent days, we have seen multiple incidents on sleepovers, like traumatizing the kids and taking the videos and blackmailing the same kid who is hardly even teenage. I mean, in those cases, like if we completely avoid the kid not to go to the sleepover, how long we can resist that? And what are the measures? Before we sending the kid to a sleepover, what are the measures we have to follow?
Well, so the first question, how long can we resist it? Well, you're the parent. Be a parent. Are you going to allow peer pressure from a child to change your mind? Oh, they just whine so much. It's so hard. Come on, let's be a parent. You're going to set a boundary, set a boundary. Yep. You can resist as long as you say no. That's the answer. That being said, if you think that, they're going to a place where your values are going to be upheld, I would still talk with your kid about, okay, if anyone brings a smartphone, I want you to call me. If anyone busts out and tries to watch an inappropriate movie, I want you to call me. And you could even have like a secret, a secret word with your kid that they can just text you. You can say, hey, just text me the word bananas and I'll be there, or whatever. And you can even have your kid blame you and be like, if something comes up, just tell your friends, oh guys, sorry, I forgot to do my chores. My mom's really mad at me. I have to go home. It's okay. But come up with a game plan of what they can do so that if they're put in an uncomfortable situation, you can come get them. But that's the thing. If they're on a sleepover, you as a parent, you are on call all night long, because if there's one thing you need to be there for your kid. If your kid needs you, you need to get your butt over there, because that's another big way to build trust, is telling your kid, hey, okay, I think it's going to be safe. I talked to the parent about digital boundaries. I talked to the parents about all this stuff. But if something happens, I want you to reach out to me and I will be there. And it helps build trust on that two-way street.
I was talking to a couple of my friends. They are the parents of teenagers and preteens. Whenever I see the kids, they are completely into gaming, Roblox or Fortnite. When I asked them, is it okay to play for that long? With whom they are playing, we don't know. They said they're playing within the group. The known kids are playing.
Right.
I don't know how they will know they're playing with the known kid. I mean, how safe it is to do this.
I mean, if you know who you're playing with, I mean, that part of it, sure, that might be safe. But there's other effects of playing too much video games. It's just like any other screen. We have in our brains a thing called the circadian rhythm. It is our relationship with the sun. The sun comes up, our brain tells our body it's time to wake up. That's why during like the summer months, when you wake up and the sun's already up, you feel good. You're like, oh wow, it feels good to be awake, because your brain is telling your body to wake up. And then when the sun goes down, your brain tells your body it's dark. It's time to be tired. Screens, especially prolonged staring at screens, it messes with that circadian rhythm, because that bright light is telling your brain, be awake, be awake, be awake. And your body is saying, I am tired. We should go to bed. But the brain is like, no, I am awake. I am awake. And then kids look at the time like, oh crap, it's 1 o'clock in the morning. I should go to bed. They put down their game, they try and lay down, and they can't, because the brain is still overactive. And so a big component of a big worry of prolonged gaming is the disruption of sleep. But also, brains are not meant for that much dopamine. When you're staring at a screen for that long, interacting, playing games, your dopamine inflow is just flowing. It is just going and going. When you just cut it off, it's almost like an addictive response, kind of like a withdrawal response. That's why when parents just take video games away in the middle of a game from the kid, kids throw a giant tantrum. Yeah. Because their brains are literally in the middle of a dopamine addiction. And so I'm not going to say video games are bad, but we need to put boundaries boundaries on them, set a timer. Or if you're going to end the kid's game, tell them, hey, we're going to be done in 5 minutes. So when 5 minutes comes, the kid's not going to go throw a tantrum about it because you gave them a warning. My own kids, so I have a 7-year-old with ADHD, and he used to have a ton of screen time a few years ago. Like during the summer, he'd watch like 2 or 3 hours of TV. He'd watch like, Spidey and His Amazing Friends, but he watched like 2 hours, and then he was just struggled with his behavior the whole day. And so this year we were like, hey buddy, how can we help you with your behavior? And he said, I think I don't like how I feel when I watch too much TV. And so we cracked down on how much time he watched. Now he watches maybe 30 minutes a day. When he's done, he turns the TV off and then he goes outside and play. And then there's one day where he started, like he came in, he asked if he could watch a show. I'm like, yeah, when you watch one show, 30 minutes, fine, whatever. And I turn it on and we're not even halfway through the episode. He pauses it, turns the TV off. I'm like, what are you doing, buddy? Your show's not even over. And he said, Dad, the TV's kind of boring when real life is just outside. And that's the thing. Kids want adventure. That's why they game, right? That's why they do Roblox. That's why they do Minecraft, because they want adventure. They want to create. They can do that in real life. And that actually will benefit them instead of, the screens addicting them and impacting their behavior, impacting their communication skills. Doing things in real life will build their communication skills. Doing things in real life will build their skills of creativity and engineering, where like on Roblox and Minecraft, you have no creativity. I mean, you do. I mean, you can make stuff, but it's kind of done for you. You make the thing and there it is. In real life, you can be creative. You imagine things. You're in your own world. If you see little kids playing with a bunch of boxes, they're in a different universe. They're slaying dragons. They're saving the princess. They're in their own little world, imagining and creating. I think we need to bring childhood back. And part of that is less games, less online gaming.
On the same note, talking to some of the parents, I was asking why don't we avoid the electronic devices? So they said we cannot entertain the kids for a longer time. So that is why we give the electronic devices. How we can shift the kids to the non-electronic? How, is it okay to get them bored?
Yeah. It's needed. Kids need to be bored. Parents are so scared of their kids' boredom. They think if my kid's bored, they're going to make a mess in the house. They're going to break stuff. They're going to be loud. And so they give them a screen, and the screen is like a pacifier almost. It puts them in like a dopamine coma where they're just, they're calm. But is that what childhood is? No. Yes, they need to be bored. That's when they create things. That's when they come up with games. That's where they're going to go outside and get dirty and scrape a knee and have a good time. But that's when they learn. Real life, appropriate, risky behavior, playing outside by themselves is good for kids. Being bored is good for kids. But a lot of parents are terrified of boredom. But if my kid's bored, they're going to get into trouble. I'm like, they're getting into more trouble online with that device than any amount of trouble that they're going to get in real life. I would rather my kid play outside, fall out of a tree and break his arm than be on a screen all day. And honestly, if a kid goes through their entire childhood of elementary school without spraining an ankle or skimming a knee, it's not, I think they were kind of deprived of a childhood. That's part of childhood. Playing outside, scraping your knees, having fun. That's how you build toughness too. Boredom is good. We need to bring it back.
So they have other concern too. If they are too much bored, do they get into depression?
Do they get depressed if they're too bored? No. One reason that they might think that they're depressed is because they're so used to having their screen all the time. And so now that they don't have it, they're having withdrawals. And so this is another good opportunity for us to be parents. Take your kids out of the house for a little bit. Say, okay, you're sitting here just moping around. Out. Go outside. But I'm bored. Good. Go outside. Find something to do. You can come back inside when it's dinner time. My mom did that to me all the time when I was a kid in the summer. When I was sitting around, Mom, I'm bored. Okay, go outside. Well, I don't want to. It's hot. Well, don't complain to me. The thing that we as parents need to realize, it is not our job to entertain our kids. It is not our job to entertain our kids. It's not. It's their job to entertain themselves. If they're bored, go find something to do. Go outside, do something. But being bored is not going to give your kids depression. What's going to give your kids depression is exposing them to social media at a young age. What's going to give your kids depression is prolonged gaming and exposure to online predators. But being outside and being bored, that's not going to give your kids depression. Probably going to improve their moods. It's probably going to make them happier. because they're outside more. They're in the sun more. The sun literally changes your physiology of your body. The sun improves your endorphins. It improves all your different levels. The sun does a lot more healing than any amount of screens will. And so no, being bored is not going to give you depression.
The weather is not the same, right?
No.
In that cases, what do you think? Like, if it is a cold weather, snowing outside, you encourage them to get a way to entertain themselves?
Yeah. It's snowing outside. Cool. Put on a coat. It's rainy outside. Cool. Put on a jacket. Get an umbrella. We try to come up with lots of excuses of why we shouldn't go outside. Why it's okay to be on a screen. It's okay because it's a rainy day. It's okay because they're sick. It just kind of sounds like an excuse to be lazy. It's okay to get off the screen and be bored. Now, there are some circumstances, yes. Maybe your kid's sick and it is throwing up. It's on the couch all day. Yeah, you're going to watch a lot of TV. But here's the thing. Not all screens are created equal.
Yeah.
Right? Some screens are worse than others. The more interactive and isolating a screen, the worse it is. I'm much more okay with my kid watching 2 hours of TV for a movie. That's okay. Do I want them 2 hours scrolling on social media? No. Because the social media is a lot different. Social media is going to be, interactive and addicting. The movie, that's something the whole family can participate in. Yeah. Sometimes there might be instances where kids have, sick days and stuff like that. But the weather, I don't feel like is a good enough excuse to, it's okay. It's raining outside. You can be on your screen all day. No, you can put on a rain jacket and go outside and have some fun. You can splash in some puddles. You can get muddy. You can have fun. I think parents are also really, really scared of their kids getting dirty. Like, you don't want to get too dirty outside. Yeah. Why?
What if they get sick?
What if?
So, that is also a major concern. Like,
Yeah.
I have to take off and you have to take off and both we have to sit in the home. Those things are also concerning for the parents these days.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Prepare. If it's raining outside, put on a jacket. But also, okay, you can still find ways to entertain yourself inside without getting on a screen. You can learn to draw. And here's the thing, maybe you can use screens to learn a new skill. For example, what if on a rainy day you used YouTube to learn how to play the guitar and you start playing the guitar? What if you learn YouTube to learn how to play the piano? What if you use some online tutorials how to draw, right? You can use it as a tool and then do things. Instead of just scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. Oh, it's a rainy day. I'm just going to watch YouTube all day. No, use it to do something with, to learn new skills. But don't use bad weather as an excuse to just be lazy on a screen all day.
After this conversation, I feel like why kids are more addicted to the games. So do they get immediate appreciation in the games or lack of concentration on them?
It's a combination of things. Games are built to keep the attention of kids. They're fun, right? And especially if you can immerse yourself in another world, that is also fun. Games are addictive because they are fun, but there's the implications of the exposed screen time, the online predators. There's so many things that aren't good for kids. And so that's the hard part, where something can be fun, but it also can be really unhealthy for you if you don't place boundaries on them. And so like at my house, we have a Nintendo Switch and we sometimes play Super Smash Bros. And we sometimes play Mario Kart. Now, those are games that people can play with each other instead of isolating to be by themselves. And so I think kids can get addicted to games because they feel isolated and now it's their own little world all by themselves. They're meeting people and my question is, well, why don't you want to be in real life? What about real life do you not like? And maybe go from there. Yeah. Figure out how can we improve real life? So you want that more than the fake online world that you're playing in.
So these days, people are losing their lives, especially kids and teenagers, like pre-teen, teen and little youth. So they are playing this choking game. How we can educate on that?
I mean, there's a lot of harmful trends that pop up on TikTok, usually TikTok and Instagram, but TikTok trends where it's kids choke their friends out, kids eat Tide Pods, kids light themselves on fire. And so it's part of a basic foundational rule that I think when we are teaching our kids about the internet and about digital safety, that we never participate in any sort of trend that involves us causing harm to ourselves or other people. Because when I was a kid, it wasn't a TikTok trend, but we would like, it was a trend in the locker room to see how long it would take for someone to like get themselves choked out and go unconscious.
Oh my God. Oh.
Like the boys would choke each other with towels and see like how much until they go limp. And then they're like, you hit their cheeks and then they see how fast they wake up. That happened when I was a kid. And now kids are doing that on recording it and putting it online, right? For like chokeout challenges. But there's other harmful challenges too. There's challenges where kids are using Germ-X and putting it like on their clothes and putting it on their hands and then seeing how long it lasts until it doesn't burn them, lighting it on fire and saying, oh, look, because for a while, the layer of Germ-X between your Germ-X and your flesh, that'll burn up and it won't burn your hands. So it's like you're holding fire for just a little bit and then you are going to get burned. But there's a lot of stupid challenges, stupid things that are just being online that involves kids hurting themselves or other people. And they don't think about the consequences. They're just thinking, oh, wow, that person got a lot of views. Maybe I can do that too. There was one challenge that was going around last year, whereas it's called the Orbeez gun challenge, where do you know what Orbeez are? There's these little kind of rubber balls that are in a gun, kind of like an airsoft gun, but with rubber balls. And they're fun. If you wear like, eye safety and stuff, you can have little wars with them. But the challenge was take an Orbeez gun and then just shoot someone in the face randomly. Oh my God. Just shoot a stranger in the face and run and record the reaction. First, people were getting seriously injured because the Orbeez were damaging their eyes. But second, kids were getting charged with battery and assault. 7th graders were getting charged with felonies. They're not thinking about that. And so I think as parents, we need to talk to our kids about, hey, anytime that there's a challenge, if it is going to cause harm to you or someone else, you are not to participate in that challenge. That needs to be a conversation we have before we give our kids the internet. So that when they see a stupid challenge, they recognize that's a stupid challenge. We should not be doing those things. Yeah. Proactive conversations can prevent a lot of heartache.
The new trend in YouTube, the kids are chatting on the comment section. So where there is a live YouTube channel is going on, there is a comment section in below. So where they are talking to the strangers and getting their contacts, and they will communicate in a way. There is a next live chat in the other channel. Let's go and meet there. So they are using the parents' ID and they are chatting in the comment section. I mean, this is so new and it is so scary.
Yeah. What I would say, parents, your kids should never be viewing any content on your account. They should not have your password to anything. They should not be able to log into your YouTube. If you're watching YouTube on the TV, it should be on a family account, or a family profile, because you can have multiple profiles within one account. So make a kid profile so your kids can watch videos on that profile and they can't leave comments on. But kids should never have your passwords and do stuff on your accounts. Like I said before, anything that gives kids the ability to talk with strangers is a concern. One that I saw that popped up recently, kids are using Google Maps as a secret social media.
Oh, really?
Because on Google Maps, you can go to a location and you can leave comments on locations. Like if I went to Arby's, they say, "How's your stay at Arby's?" Leave a review. Your reviews are like comments. And then you can post videos and photos of your review. Kids will pick random buildings, like abandoned buildings that people won't visit, don't think to look at, and they'll pick that as like their central hub. And they'll leave reviews, but they'll communicate. They'll leave reviews, and those reviews will be comments towards each other, and they'll leave pictures and videos. And because it's Google Maps doesn't, there's like no community guidelines for what's posted. So kids will post inappropriate pictures and inappropriate videos in the reviews, in the comments, and they never get flagged because it's not a social media app. It's Google Maps. And depending on the city too, or depending on the group of kids, it can get really intricate. I was talking to some high school kids where depending on the building, like one building, that's where they had all their conversations about pranks, about stupid pranks. And another building was all their conversations about girls. Different locations were different topics of conversations they wanted to hide from their parents. Yeah, the secret social media, anything where you can leave public comments, where you can publicly talk to other people, kids can use. as a loophole. And if kids can, so can online predators.
Yes. And the drugs coming into the schools.
Yeah, easily.
These days, these days we hear a lot. Drugs coming into the schools and overdose and some fatal incidents.
Almost 100% of the time, they're being sold on Snapchat.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And almost 100% of the time, they are being sold and exchanged without a single word being spoken. They'll just put a couple of emojis and the time, and they'll know by the emojis and the numbers when and where and what is being sold.
Oh my goodness. Really?
Yeah. Like, for example, if it's like a powder emoji and a leaf emoji, and then the number 1, and then maybe the numbers like 1, 2, 3, then they're going to be by room 123. The powder emoji means cocaine. The leaf emoji means pot. And then the 1 at the time. It's really easy for kids. And even like on Instagram, there'll be drug dealers on Instagram where they'll have 0 followers. And they'll have 0 posts. And their name will be some fake name, but in their bio, it'll have either pictures of pills. It'll have a picture of like maybe a lightning bolt. That's one emoji for cocaine. Just depending on the drugs, they'll have different emojis for what drugs they offer. And they'll just say, DM me for more. And it looks like nothing because it's
scary.
0.
I mean, just communicating with the emojis for...
Yeah, and it's super accessible. Super accessible.
Oh.
And the thing is, adults aren't bringing drugs into the school. Kids are bringing drugs into the school. Kids are bringing it in their backpacks and they're selling it to their classmates. They're getting it off the streets and they're bringing it in the schools. And so it's not because adults or creepy people are doing it. It's because kids are doing this from their cell phones and bringing it into the schools. It's fun to be a parent, guys.
This is so new for Snapchat. They're selling the drugs is very new. In your whole career, what is the most challenging case for you to counsel them?
Probably the most difficult case for me to counsel is when kids have been manipulated to believe that the predator is their friend. We had an instance where this girl had a really, really strict mom. Really strict. But mom did not talk. Mom was so strict about everything, but also did not talk about anything. So it's like, no, you cannot be online because they're predators. Also, sex is bad. We don't talk about sex. Pornography is bad. We don't talk about pornography. So she's super strict, but she didn't communicate. And so because she didn't communicate, the girl did a lot of things behind the mom's back. She got into communication with, she was playing Minecraft. Minecraft. Yeah.
The regular
Minecraft.
Yeah.
Minecraft is an online game. On online mode, you can play with strangers online. Well, she met someone on Minecraft who was like, hey, I'm Jimmy, right? I'm from another state. I'm from New Mexico. I'd love to talk to you some more. I have a Discord server. Can we go talk on Discord so we can have some privacy? Sure. Yeah. Click on the link. Let's go talk. He starts talking to her. Hey, man, you sound so beautiful. Could you send me some pictures? I'd love to see what you look like. Sends him some pictures of what she looks like. Starts talking to her more, making her feel special, calling her beautiful, telling her, oh man, we could be together someday. I think I love you. Making her feel all these accepted feelings she hasn't felt before. And then he says, you know what? I think we could be together, but I think your mom's getting in the way. I think we could run away together, but I think you'd have to kill your mom first.
Oh my goodness.
I'll tell you what, I'll come meet you and I'll bring the shovel if you can get rid of your mom first. Thankfully, the mom found the conversation happening before it got too bad. But when we were talking to the kid about it, the kid had been manipulated by this predator into thinking that this was good. It's the mom's fault. The mom's oppressing me. Mom's being too strict. This person was just trying to help free me. When people are manipulated by online predators, they believe them. That's why it's so important for us as parents, even if we're going to be strict, we need to talk to our kids about why we're being strict. And even better yet, if we talk to our kids and ask them for recommendations on what boundaries we should put in place before anything happens, most of the time the kids are going to come up with really good boundaries and they come up with really good consequences too. When we are the ones who just say, this is how it is because I say so. They're not going to follow it. But maybe if you talk as a family and say, hey, as a family, what are our values? What do we use technology for? What do we not use technology for? What are some things you think we should stay away from? And then come up with a family tech plan where you guys decide as a family what you do and what you do not use technology for and what the consequences are if you break that plan, and then follow it as a family. That's including the parents. When you do that, kids are much more likely to follow that plan, and they're a lot less likely to get manipulated by predators online.
Is there any apps safe for kids to play peacefully? The parent can leave the app with them and allow them to play for a longer time.
No. Kids should never be on any type of device completely unsupervised, because let's say there is a good app. It's probably going to cost money to make it completely safe. And if hardly any parent wants to pay money for an app for their kid to play. Usually they download the free version. Well, the free version has ads, and there's a lot of inappropriate ads targeted at kids. And so I don't think there's any game where it's safe enough where kids should be using a device unsupervised. If your kid is on a screen, if your kid is using any sort of app, using a computer, using a phone, a tablet, anything, they need to be in an area where you can supervise. It is never safe to leave your kid unsupervised with a device.
In all your life, what is the most shocking case
that I personally dealt with?
Not you deal with,
or that I've heard.
Anything you heard of, like, you felt like very shocking.
One that surprised me the most, I was talking before we started recording, I was telling you a little bit about this one. In Utah, there was a fire chief who he was busted for possessing and distributing child pornography. It's called child sexual abuse material now. The judge that was supposed to give him the charges let him off the hook because they were in a relationship themselves.
Who, the judge? And
the judge and the chief were in a relationship themselves. They were having an affair with each other.
Oh my goodness.
And the judge was participating in the distribution of the child sexual abuse material. And so the FBI had to get involved to commandeer their phones and computers to see what was happening. And it's crazy because those two people, a judge and a fire chief, those are people of power. Those are people of influence. Those are people of trust that have access to kids. And it's crazy to me that people of trust, people of power, are also the same people that are abusing that power. And so really, you can't really say, oh, they would never do that. You never know.
True.
You never know.
This is shocking. The judge doing is really...
Right. Yeah. It's like people think when they're on the internet that it's a different world that no one will know. Like, it doesn't count. It's just the internet. It doesn't matter. But it does. There's consequences to our actions. And the internet is still very real. And it affects and it impacts our life in a really real way.
So my final question, how can a parent teach a kid humanity, empathy in this fantasy and electronic world?
By the example they set in real life. How are we as parents at expressing our emotions? How are we as parents? What's our digital activity look like? If you look at our community pages on Facebook, we find adults ripping each other to pieces all the time over stupid political topics, getting mad at each other, saying words to each other they'd never say in real life. Most kids have fake Facebook accounts just to follow their parents, just to look at what their parents are saying and doing online. You lead by example. If you want your kids to be empathetic yourself. I think it's funny at sporting events, right? Parents freak out, right? Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's the wrong call. Ref, you're stupid. That's cheating. Starts yelling and screaming. Privately afterwards, sometimes they'll go up and hey, I apologize for that. That was out of line. But all the kids see was the explosion. All the kids see was you being unkind. If you're willing to lose your cool in public, you should also be willing to apologize in public. So your kids see, oh, what my mom and dad did wasn't okay, and they apologized for it. That's what I should do when I mess up. Your example is how you lead the way. There's no magic way to teach empathy. It's putting in the hard work and being empathetic. When you screw up with your kids, say sorry. A lot of parents are like, oh, I've already let the cat out of the bag. I've already given them social media. I've already given them screens. I've already given them smartphones. They've already been influenced. I can't put the cat back in the bag. Yes, you can. You can take away all the smartphones. You can apologize. And you can start over, but it starts with us.
Thank you so much, Nate.
Thank you for having me. This has been wonderful.
Thank you so much in coming and giving a lot of information on safety.
Yeah, I would just say to parents, take a breath. Yes, it is a scary world we live in, but it's also a wonderful world that we live in. The world has never been kinder. The world has never been more accepting, and it has never been a better time to be a human being. Talk to your kids. A little less screens, a lot more hugs. We're doing the best we can, and that's all we can ask.
That was nice. Thank you so much.
Thank you.